Hey there, I just want to give a quick little overview on Chrome developer tools, because we use them a lot, especially with Chrome extension development, since JavaScript is running in a lot of different contexts, so debugging can be tricky at times without using the dev tools, so I thought I would give a really quick overview on some tips on how to use it effectively. So in order to demonstrate this, I'm going to add a console.log to our background script. That says background. And then inside of our pop-up, I'm also going to add inside of our update time elements, pop-up. And then inside of our options, I'm going to add a set interval. And I'm going to have that run every second and just console.log options. So if we refresh our extension and inspect our service worker, you can see that it's running inside of the background. Then if we open our pop-up, you can see that the console is running inside of our pop-up, and that's also open our options page. You can see we have 3 dev tools open and JavaScript running in all 3 of them in a different context. So one important thing to note is that there's a setting where you can select selected context only, and if you actually turn this off, you'll notice that all of the JavaScript will output to a single console for the background and the pop-up. So what we should do is always have selected context only on to make sure that you don't have this overlapping JavaScript and you don't get confused with what JavaScript is running inside of which dev console. Something interesting to note about the dev console is that you can actually interact with the JavaScript that's inside of your files. So for example, in the pop-up, we have this time element. So if I actually type time element, you can get a direct reference to this element. You can even do things like time element.text content is equal to hello and overwrite it really quickly. So if you want to do some quick debugging of your pop-up without actually re-editing your JavaScript code, you can do it from the console itself. And you can, of course, inside of the elements, you can adjust the CSS. For example, you can change the color of something like the button to have a different color on the text. And you can even change it in real time by using your arrow keys on the colors so that you can quickly style things without going back and forth between different CSS files. There are basically a ton of different options on the dev tools. For the most part, you can work with the Elements tab and the Console tab, and that should be good enough for debugging. But make sure you're comfortable with these tools because you'll definitely be using them a lot when you're debugging any website or any Chrome extension in general.